So now we've got our VS Code open at the correct directory. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to create our first test, and we're going to call the test mortgagetest.js. And all we do is put a little bit of a console log in there and then run the tests, make sure that everything works okay. Now remember, at this point, we're just creating the plumbing. So let's create that file. So what we're going to do is under scripts, we are going to create a new file, and we're going to call that file mortgage.test.js. So this is the first one we create. And again, I got a great memory. And my memory is so great that I know I can't remember what we're supposed to do with it. So I'm going to copy a couple lines that I've pre-created in a file, just so that you guys don't have to watch me painfully type. And I'm going to just copy it in here, but I'm going to take a few minutes and talk about what these lines do, okay? I'm going to ignore this comment file right now, and I'm going to comment out the import statement. All I'm going to do is run this test, and what this is doing is this is just going to test the test plumbing, okay? So let's just go test the plumbing. Test the unit test plumbing, which is pretty cool. Okay, so I'm going to save this now, and now we're going to get ourselves a little bit more room here, and we're going to actually run npm test again. At this point, it should actually find a test, and it's going to come out and it gives me a console log, test the unit test plumbing. So that's pretty cool. So what it's done now is it's actually ran this test, it's given this statement, life is good for us. All right, so the next thing we're going to do now is we're going to create another new file. And again, this is just part of setting the plumbing up, not so much the doing the unit testing. It's just setting the plumbing up. Okay, so this is going to actually create that. And again, my amazing memory, I'm going to run and grab a little bit of code because it always starts the same way. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a diction, just go through here. Okay, and we're going to close that. And then we're going to do an export default port functions. Okay, so what this is doing right now is this is simply creating an object called mort functions, and within that it's defining a method called play, and all we're going to do in play is say, hey, we're in mort functions. Now this is kind of a cool trick that you can do, and again, it's not really a trick, but it's a thing that you can do because again, in JavaScript, functions are first-class citizens, which means you can treat a function as if it's a variable, and that makes some pretty powerful things that you can do. So we're going to save this. We're going to go back to our test here, and now that we were able to do this, what we're actually going to do is we're going to really import it. So I'm going to comment this, and we can call it mort function. We can call that anything else. Now notice this name does not need to match this name at all, and I've done them differently just to actually show that. So over here I've called it mort func, and down here I'm going to actually go mort func dot, and again it was called play, and look how code helps me out, and I'm not going to pass any parameters to it, and I'm just going to do that. Okay, I'm just going to get rid of this one line. Okay, all right, so I'm going to save this, and if this is working the way we want it to, the first thing that's going to happen is this console log will print, and then playing computer, it's then going to run mort functions.play, which is going to go over here because of this export, and again it's going to then run the play, which will say I'm in there. Let's see if it actually does that. So I should get two console logs. Everything should work just fine because that's where we are right now. And yeah, look at that. We got that. Test the unit test plumbing, and we're in mort functions. So that's pretty cool right now because we know now that the Java test is running, the JavaScript test, and the JavaScript test is executing the function. And again, this is where I'm going to put my problem-solving code. All right, so I just want to stop right here. I'm going to put this out to the right-hand side. I'm going to just get rid of this guy so you guys can see. Okay, so there's the mortgage, so there's the test. Okay, this test is executing and running that. So this is a good point to stop for a second and see if there's any questions at all.